Facebook will allow you to pick from 58 different genders, and you can go online and find lists that have over 100 other than man or woman. 100 different genders. Just go ahead and wrap your head around that for a second. When people try and talk about this shit, it often comes across as bashing, but that's not always the way they want it to come across. It's really confusing to someone who just came across this, or even to people who have been reading about it. The first thing we gotta do to unpack all this is to get something out of the way that I found to be true when I've been reading about this. Sex is biological, gender is cultural. Sex is determined when you were born, and gender is determined by society. Now, hold on. Before you jump down my throat, this is an SJW talking point. Think about it for a second. A man loves guns, sports. A woman loves shopping, makeup. Doesn't say that anywhere in your DNA. It's just the way that society differentiates between the sexes past the masculine or feminine traits that someone is born with. So now you can see this isn't necessarily about your sex, unless of course you're intersex. Intersex is someone who doesn't fit the typical definition for male or female. They will have both genitalia or a combination of different chromosomes besides XX and XY. This is very real and can lead to severe identity issues. A baby's born with both genitals, and the doctor and parent get together and they decide which one to cut off and which one to leave. This can obviously lead to issues later on when the kid starts to kind of wonder, why am I feeling this way, and they just figure out that they cut off the wrong thing and they were supposed to be a different sex.
太复杂了. Do you understand what I mean?
What, are you saying it's too complicated?
Okay, so if there was going to be a third gender, it would definitely be intersex. There's science behind it. Estimates say up to 2% of the world's population is intersex. So now we can get to the part where all the controversy and confusion centers around. What gender do you feel like? Most would answer male or female, but why? Okay, I have a dick or a vagina, but okay, remember I said earlier that sex and gender are two different things, so forget your respective genitals for a second and answer the question again. Still male or female? Why?
When did you first decide that this was something that you were interested in?
Ever since a young age, I would always dress up with my sister, like just mess about around the house. And then I thought, well, if I was going to like dress up, like makeup was kind of like the next step.
Yeah.
So I wore makeup. I like just tried it on for fun, really, around the house. Never really went out in it.
Societal norms for the male gender say that boys don't wear makeup. So did this kid change gender as soon as he finished contouring?
But I am in touch with my feminine side.
Okay.
I gotta say that I'm very, very sensitive. One thing I had to realize as a man is that you can be too manly.
Just because someone doesn't fit perfectly into the male or female gender, does that mean they're gender fluid? Or does that mean they're a guy who likes to wear makeup, or a chick who hates dresses? I like a lot of pop music. Does that mean I have to scan through the list of 100+ genders and try and find, pop fluid or something different to kind of describe who I am? How many things outside the standard gender before you need to identify as a different one? If we eliminated the societal norms associated with male and female, would there be a need for all these dozens and dozens of other genders? I think this is where myself and a lot of other people start to get confused and question the entire premise, and shit like this doesn't help. You have to ease people into the conversation. You can't just yell at people to accept an entire list of different genders that include a lot that seem made up to someone who's not in the know, when they're just trying to wrap their heads around that there might be more than two than the ones that they were brought up with.
There's so many.
There's simply a lot to take in here. There's some science that I think is irrefutable, but there's a lot of feeling in here, and that's very much up for debate, and you can't force it down someone's throat. If you want people to understand and accept this multitude of genders, then you need to get a cohesive message together and use the facts to help open people's minds to other possibilities that are not so cut and dry. You try to lead off with crazy shit and put people that are terrible at articulating the issues front and center of getting the message out, and you will see nothing but rolled eyes to the back of the room, and it'll get you nowhere.
basically, it's not correct that there is such a thing as biological sex. And I'm a historian of medicine. I can unpack that for you at great length if you want, but in the interest of time, I won't. So that's a very popular misconception.
Now you can see why I'm so exhausted.